Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Harakah, Kadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well, and shalom to the hopeful elect. It's a biblical commentary on the book of Mark, the 4th chapter, and it reads, "And he began again to teach by the seaside, and there was gathered unto him a great multitude, so that he entered into a ship and sat in the sea. And the whole multitude was by the sea on the land. And he taught them many things by parables and said unto them in his doctrine." All right. So for him to go on a ship, all right, and to speak unto them, that's basically delving into what's described in the book of Revelations, the 1st chapter, his voice being as many waters. When you go by a waterfall and you hear the many waters that's gushing down the waterfall, what can you say about, how can you describe that sound? It's very loud, all right, tumultuous. It sounds, very loud, okay, like a tumult. And that's how the Lord's voice was. He spoke with great authority and with great volume, okay. And that's why he was at a ship, but he spoke by parables, as it tells you in the book of Matthew, the 13th chapter, where it's going into Isaiah, the 6th chapter, basically, and in the book of Psalms where it's quoted from, that basically he's doing it because for who is given, it's given to, they'll be taught in plain words, okay, but to who is not, be taught in parables, all right. So reading on, verse 3, "Hearken, behold, there went out a sower to sow. And it came to pass, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. And some fell on stony ground, where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it withered away." All right. "And some fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. And other fell on good ground, and did yield fruit that sprang up and increased and brought forth some 30, some 60, and some 100. All right. And he said unto them, He that hath ears to hear, let him hear." All right. And he that has ears to hear, let him hear. All right. Verse 10, "And when he was alone, they that were about him with the 12 asked of him the parable." Okay. "And he said unto them, Unto you it is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of Yahweh, but unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables." You see, it's not meant for them to know and understand these parables because it's a secret. Deuteronomy 29 and 29, it tells you about the secret things belonging to us. All right, and ultimately it tells you when that us is being spoke of, it's talking about prophets because it's broke down in the book of Amos 3 and 7. All right, that basically reveals his secrets unto his servants the prophets. And ultimately is the most deepest thing because the Lord, it tells you the Lord found out all the ways of wisdom and gave it unto his son, unto his servant Israel. And in doing so, we understand the greatest things, okay? We know about how to, live on this earth, and we have a way where it's superior to any other nation. That's why it says in the book of Deuteronomy that, when they see our laws and the way we live and the way it brings us such great wealth, okay, that they'll see, they'll say, honor the Heavenly Father for having such a great way. But then also, what's the point I was gonna say? That's it. The key thing, as it tells you, is the testimony of Yahushua as the spirit of prophecy, is the fact that we know what's gonna happen next. Because with all that wisdom, there's no point utilizing that there's a land Sabbath and this, that, and the other when it's like, yo, you don't want to be in that land. It tells you in the book of Micah, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." All right. So there's no point you establishing a rest if you don't know that the prophecy tells you it's time to get ready to move. All right. So that's why prophecy is king in the realms of wisdom. Okay, verse 12, "Seeing that," and that's why he said he reveals his secrets unto who? His servants, the prophets that have the prophecy. Okay, that seeing that they may see and not perceive, and hearing that they may hear and not understand, least at any time they should be converted and their sins should be forgiven them. All right, because the Lord has allotted them unto destruction. Verse 13, and he said unto them, know ye not this parable? And how then will you know all parables? Okay, the sower soweth the word. All right, and these are they by the wayside where the word is sown. But when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately, all right, and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts, all right. They're deceived by the devices of Satan, all right, and they don't, because they don't have a great form of understanding for where they were rooted and built up in the faith. Verse 16, and these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who when they have heard the word immediately receive it in gladness, all right, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time afterward, when affliction or persecution ariseth for the word's sake, immediately they are offended, all right, because they ain't prepared to go through the long haul, all right. Any form of trouble, it says too much, man. I just want a nice, easy life, basically. And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word and receive it and bring forth fruit. Some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100. All right. So when you hear the word, and you basically get to, you know, you get rooted, built up in the faith, and then once you're rooted and built up in the faith, what's the process? A seed gets planted. All right. It takes root. Then it begins to sprout. Okay. And as it sprouts, and then the leaves come out. All right. Leaves. What do the leaves do? It gives the ability to, take in the sun and deal with what Esau calls photosynthesis. Then it begins to bud, and then the fruits come forth. That's the last thing, all right, that comes forth from a seed to the budding of fruit, all right. But you have to go through that whole process, which is a form of toil as well, because you have to withstand the elements, all right, in order for you to bear fruit. And then when you've rooted and built up, then you bear fruit according to your measure. Verse 21, and he said unto them, is a candle brought to be put under a bushel or under a bed, or not to be set on a candlestick? All right. And when you bought a candle, what's the use for a candle? It's a form of light. All right. And obviously, if you want a form of light, you're lighting up the place. But you ain't going to put it underneath something to cover it up. No, you're going to put it forth that it brings light everywhere. Verse 22, for there is nothing hid which shall not be manifest, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad. Okay, because ultimately this word is going to be declared when the veil is pulled off the face of the people that sit in gross darkness, and the light, being Yahushua, the morning star, is revealed in the heavens when he comes forth. Okay, but we're ahead of the curve, innit? We know, all right, the light has been shown unto us. For there is nothing hid which shall not be manifest, neither, verse 23, if any man have ears to hear, let him hear. And he said unto them, take heed what you hear, with that what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you. And unto you that hear shall be more given. All right. For he that hath, to him shall be given, and he that hath not, from him shall be taken even that which he hath. All right. So basically, in judgment, we got ears to hear, and that whatever measure we meet, that's what's going to be measured onto us. We're going to be given our portion, all right? And whoever can hear, more is going to be given unto you because you have the ability to hear, all right? And then the ones that can't hear, it's going to be taken away from them. If they hear it and they lack in it, then they're going to hear less. Verse 26, and he said, so is the kingdom of Yahweh as if a man should cast seed into the ground, and should sleep and rise night and day, and the seed should spring and grow up. He knoweth not how, for the earth bringeth forth fruit of herself, first the blade, then the ear, after the full corn, in the air. All right. But when the fruit is brought forth, immediately he putteth in the sickle, because the harvest is come. All right. And he said, whereunto shall we liken the kingdom of Yahweh? Or with what comparison shall we compare it? It is like a grain of mustard seed, which when it is sown in the earth is less than all the seeds that be in the earth. All right. But when it is sown, it groweth up and becometh greater than all herbs, and shooteth out great branches, so that the fowls of the air may lodge under the shadow of it. All right. And with many such parables spake he the word unto them, as they were able to hear it. All right. And that's why he said, if you don't understand this parable, why do you understand the other parables? Because all the things that's being said in that parable that followed is of the same thing. All right. It's a small seed that's planted. The kingdom grows to a great kingdom through what? The abundance of bringing in of fruit. All right. Different branches being established. Okay. So reading on. Verse 35. And the same day when the evening was come, he saith unto them, let us pass over unto the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship. And there was also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And they awake him and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And he arose and rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was great calm. And he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? All right. Why is he saying that they have no faith? Because basically they were chosen to do a job, all right, to build the kingdom of heaven. So they lack faith in the fact that they believe that they will perish in that sea. Okay. But guess what? They weren't going to perish because they have a job to do. So even though, and the point to garner from that is that even though you may have close brushes with death, hey, if it ain't your time to go, if that's not your lot, it's not going to happen, because you have to establish the job. The Lord brought you here to establish a job. Then even if you do perish, it's again for the establishment of the word of Yahweh Shem Shai. You can't, loosely paraphrasing, nothing, neither bad nor good being done. Basically, you could do bad or good in terms of the Lord, but oh man, I can't even word it correctly, man. But basically, no matter, anything that's done is for the establishment of the word, which may seem, someone scoffing against the word of the Lord. That's, even though they're scoffing, that pushes forward the doctrine, because some good's gonna come from it. All right. So verse 31, and they feared exceedingly, and said one to another, What manner of man is this, that even the wind and sea obey him? So with that, I pray you're edified. Shalom.